and welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders and the incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are made. This initiative by ETH is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them, understand their views on life and leadership, and also get a sense of what they do to unwind and recharge when they are in business mode. It is said that one conversation can change the direction of life forever. It is also said that there is nothing better than a cup of tea to get you going. So grab your cup of tea or coffee and join me, Ivan Rodrigues, for a very exciting Cutting Chai conversation. Today, it's my pleasure to host Rajkumar Ayyella, Chief Information Officer at KEC International Limited, an RPG Group subsidiary. Rajkumar, or Raj as you're fondly known, welcome to the ET Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, Raj. So let's get the ball rolling. My first question to you: it is often said that creative thinking is the lifeblood of any organization, and rightly so.
Correct.
How do you encourage it within your organization to keep the new ideas coming?
I think it's a very good question. If you typically see, we all understand that creativity is used as a term for an alternative professions and hobbies.
Yes.
But if you typically see today, it has to be embraced into the corporate world as we need to cultivate it from within. The reason is that I'm fortunate that RPG Group as a company, we have been cultivating this through various programs. So I can name few of them. Like we have something called an innovation day. When I say an innovation day, wherein there will be at least a couple of months in advance, where a lot of mailers and a lot of flyers keep coming across from the group saying that please think about something which is innovative. You can present it in the on the innovation day, and this is like a competition between various companies with SPUs and all. And it is actually done in such a beautiful way within RPG Group that everybody are encouraged to come up with something new. And this slight competition which comes up between the group companies and even the senior management, everybody gets involved in this. And to see that this environment and ecosystem is actually will be very, very, very I would say rather it actually creates a lot of momentum within the organization.
Sure.
And apart from this, we also have things like annual day conferences. It is not like the annual day conferences which we normally do it in other companies, but here we actually have a brainstorming sessions. We get speakers from outside. They come up with some innovative ideas to say how these ideas can be implemented. It's like we sit up in different roundtable things where different people from different companies come in and different ideas needs to flourish. And then it is actually conducted in a very methodological ways. And there are also things like if you see academies, we also have concepts called academies which has been built. Like for example, I can give you an example of IT academies. We also have procurement academies and all these things wherein they not only train the people within this organization, within this department, but rather we extend it across to other people. Like IT courses for non-IT guys. That is something which we normally do. And second is we have something called IT COE. So if you typically see the group company, we don't have like group CIO. And if you see the RPG Group, the reason why we emphasize called RPG Group because there is a dual role which I have to play. One is for the group and the other one is for the respective company as such.
Right.
When you say COE, it is nothing but an advisory as well as the decision-making role for the entire group. So we end up, participative culture wherein all the group company guys will be part of it. And we drive a lot of things, whether it is training, whether it is about finalizing a single contract for the entire Microsoft or for SAP, or you talk about all these things. We actually lay down roadmaps for the entire group in terms of, I would say strategies in terms of zero trust networks. A lot of things keeps coming. So
Yes.
what I am trying to say is there's a role wherein which clearly says this is your responsibility, and this is where we indulge a lot of people to basically collaborate, understand, share ideas, come up with something where chairman himself comes every month to be part of the COEs. He comes into these academies and all. So this culture will create a lot of creativity within the organization.
Wonderful.
And the concept over and above it, there is a concept which is something called hello happiness, which is bread and butter for the organization, wherein we say we check with the people in terms of whether you love your work, are you really growing within the organization, what is the purposeful and balanced life which you have, are you being valued within the organization, cultural things, many other things connected, everything gets covered through this.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Raj, for sharing all the initiatives that your company and you are taking forward and forth in your company and the group. And I'm sure it's going to be great learning for the viewers.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. COVID has impacted all of us. So my next question to you is pre-COVID to post-COVID. How has your approach towards life, family, and the community changed?
So I ordered for my chai.
Okay. Cheers. Wonderful.
Cheers. So I think I know very well that yes, if you typically compare with pre-COVID and post-COVID, I would say now for us at least, IT fraternity is not much impacted with this, but still there are a lot of things which we could see before, post, and pre-COVID kind of a thing. One is the clear demarcation of your personal and official space. This is one of the important aspect which I would say that before COVID, I mean, if you say okay, there's anybody can not infringe into your personal space as such. Now, I mean, after COVID, people keep calling you randomly at odd hours because we have business in almost 90 countries. And, and whoever, I mean, this has been, it's a traditional company. Actually, the reason why this has all happened, because being a traditional company, everything is supposed to be, I mean, it is all about the personal touch. Oh. And everybody wants to meet a person, talk to him, resolve their issues. When we have a concept, and I don't want to talk much about it, but rather there are restrictions to say that from 11 o'clock to till evening 5 o'clock, you have to be bound to be in the office. If you look at the, the company's culture kind of a thing. And when you look at the way we are executing the projects are across the globe. And because of the nature of the business where we operate, the terrains where we operate, because we are rolling out projects where there is no electricity. So you have to have a person in person to do this work. Second is the factories. They need to work on 24/7. Without humans, you cannot even think something working offline kind of a thing, or it can be work over the internet or something like that. So these are all something which needs people to be in person available for them to do. But the moment we had this lockdown, and everything has gone for a toss. So particularly when the question which you have asked was our approach towards life. Okay. But what I said is what I can say right now is, being an IT guy, I worked across the globe, supported across all the countries and all. So for us, it is day in, day out for us, because we go in person. We also have, teleconferences. We also have, video conferences. We also have, Teams. Everything was all extensively used by us at anyhow. But the moment the COVID has hit, the impacted stakeholders are the people who were physically wanted to be present and perform their duties, got into this, and we got impacted through them, and they started infringing into our personal and official space. And so, but over a period of time, we also understood that they need help in terms of how they can engage their people,
yes,
employee performance, Then there are empathy things, or I would say rather emotional intelligence are some things which became a primary things for people to work on. And we have to teach them saying that it is okay for them to allow people to, support their children during, office hours. These are all some fundamentals, or help them doing homeworks, take them
Oh,
for a walk, all these kind of stuff as such.
oh. Wonderful, wonderful. As you know, Raj, this cutting chai conversation is to get to know the man behind the job title. So let's start at the very beginning. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, could you let us know about any positive influences or incidents that contributed towards shaping your foundation in those formative years?
Yeah, I mean, this is very, personal and question which you have asked. But I would say rather, I would start with one thing which I am actually proud to say, that my father was my mentor and he was my role model and he was everything for me. The reason why I wanted to emphasize this word at this point of time is I never used to like him at my young age. And he used to be like very tough, and he was not approachable. And a lot of things he used to do, it looks so strange to me. And I used to hate him from the core of my heart. But then I understood that, the ones, I would quote you some examples wherein at a very young age, he only used to pay our college fees, and then he used to buy the books, whatever was available through your normal thing. And then he used to say, that's it. I said, how do you manage it? You need to have additional, you need money basically to support yourself. You need some extra books to purchase. You need to move around with your friends, or you need anything with it. He never used to allow us to basically give any chance to talk about all these things. And he's not approachable at all.
Yes.
And I used to say, what should I do? As a child, then we started thinking about the importance of money. And with my brother, we started something like tuitions at a very young age. I used to teach for the students who are of my class, and also sometimes in the class above me also. And we used to conduct tuitions. And then the moment I started, going to college, I used to work in ice cream parlors. I used to work with multinational companies like Cipla, all these companies who used to JD Mobile, where mobile phone companies was introduced at that point of time, which used to give us an option to work late in the nights or early in the morning, so that you can do product detailing and all in the colleges and all. So these were all some of the things which forced me to understand. And yes, and this has given me a lot of insights about how do you actually make money, what is the value of money, how difficult it is to make money, and all that things. And there used to be a lot of issues, in the sense like during my friends used to like parties and all that things. And the contribution was with and word of, what do I get out of this?
Yeah.
The contribution used to be in that way. And but I think it has shaped up a lot for me. And I worked across the globe. I also moved around, and I started comparing why children in US or UK or South Africa and all these countries are better than our guys. I could see the differences, and I would love to see, same thing getting incorporated in India. I can quote you one more example in this area is, like, children in US or so, they become independent at a very young age. And in India, if you see, till the age of 30 or odd years,
yes,
parents as a primary income earners will not allow them to do it. Then second is importance about the dignity of labor. They don't mind working in any petrol bunks or wherever they want. They work in shops, they work everywhere, and they make their own money. In India, it's all about the dignity of labor. And all these kind of things, I think has given me a lot of insight. But at least I'm not as tough as my father, but I ensure that my children go through some kind of rough patches to learn things in life.
While you were speaking, you took me back to my group. And I must tell you, it's absolutely the same. My father, man of few words, would only say, this is what you need to do. In fact, he used the phrase, we can debate, but till the age of 16, I'm going to be your father.
Yeah.
Till the age of 16, I'm your friend. Okay.
Yes,
I never
absolutely.
understood that. It was only about studies, doing the best you can, and doing the best means you have to do very well. And you can't argue with him, you can't debate with him.
Absolutely right.
And I used to, I'm using the word hate, and that was the fact that I used to say, what is happening? Because I used to look at my friends, they used to go out, they had go out and do whatever they wanted to do. I was not allowed to do that. And the second thing that you talked about was, giving tuitions. I did that. One was because I could, and the second was to earn money. I started working with companies during my college days. At that time, they used to outsource their market surveys. We used to go with these survey
Exactly.
forms house to house.
Yeah,
Only reason being to earn some pocket money to, spend in the canteen, go out for a movie, or so on and so forth. There was
exactly.
nothing coming from. But today, when I look back, I said, thank God that he was tough, because I can say whatever I am today is because of him.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it's the same story. And the moment I became responsible and all, he became my close friend.
Wonderful. There you go. Absolutely correct. Great. Uh, Raj, what advice would you give someone going into a leadership position for the first time? You being a leader yourself, you would have seen so much. You've been, what's your experience? 24 plus years of experience right now?
Exactly. Yeah, 25, 26 years, you can say.
26. So what advice would you give someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
See, I would see one fundamental thing which is missing with most of the people I have been discussing is that a leader has to create more leaders. I mean, this should be the fundamental basis on which a leader has to work.
Yes.
So they become, I mean, they keep it to themselves, So they need to understand that a leader is supposed to create more leaders. That should be the bottom line. And if they work on this concept, then it becomes easier for people to work. So yes, there are also other things which people have to look at is you need to create a culture to have a feedback mechanism. First is the basis for everything is trust, which they need to look for means to create that trust between the co-workers. You need to have mechanisms to get the feedback and also inputs and also gain the trust from the people. So they should eliminate, blame culture. There are a lot of things I think, the fundamental for all of that is how do we, instead of talking about trust, it is something you cannot gain, but it has to be demonstrated. And
Correct.
if you start showing that up, then that's the only thing which I feel is required for a leader to work on.
Fantastic. Great. What, according to you, Raj, is the best way to build a great team? Because at the end of the day, it's not just individuals working in organizations who deliver, but it's teamwork that is so important. So what, according to you, is the best way to build a great team?
I think whatever I said, one is your individual character as a leader, because when we look at each and individual, they have to be looked upon themselves as leaders, future leaders.
Yes.
So definitely whatever the characteristics which I was expecting has to be there. But if you have to build a great team, one fundamental thing which I've seen with most of the companies is that, or I would say rather in my own previous experiences and all, is simple, starting with KRAs. When you start any organization or any person joins your team or whatever it is, you need to have to establish a clear expectations from the day one. They need to have that KRAs clearly articulated to say what is that I am expecting, what is that guy is supposed to deliver.
Yes.
Or else what happens is they just put something on the paper and that has no relevance with on-ground scenario. So that is where they need to work first. Second is they should not see, we still in India, we still have this concept of sir culture. It is not that if you are a boss, everybody should come and start respecting you. You cannot demand respect. Okay. You should start giving respect to people. In the sense, the moment you start respecting every individual within the organization and also your team members, your respect will automatically go up. And that which people have to understand. So when I say as a team, everybody should have that mutual respect and nobody should cross their lines anywhere. Okay. and look for an opportunities to establish connection, start communicating everything. Because I would rather see 90% of the problems get resolved because of having effectively managing the stakeholders. And we should start communicating with everyone within the organization to see what is the problem. Once the person have that empathy, or I would say rather emotional intelligence of understanding what the other person needs, then it solves most of the problems as such.
Wonderful.
So I would say the other things we look at, having diversity also involved, so that you can keep a tab on saying, it should not be only one gender which should be there within the organization. We should also look for means and ways to reward people. These are some of the things which will actually bond the people as such together and start working for a common interest as such.
Right. Wonderful. Sticking with teams and the subject of teams, may I ask you whether competition within a team is healthy? Why or why not?
See, I think I've been covering this, last one is with an individual, one with the team. But definitely, I would say that competition within the team has to be there.
Okay.
Because it is a competitive world. And I mean, I would rather say, people become absolute in case if they don't have a zeal or a means through which they need to look forward, or if they are not forward thinking as such. So when you actually induce diversity within the team, when you actually start creating competition within the team, when you actually start, rewarding the people, these are nothing but these are ways and means of creating a competition between the team.
Right.
Okay, and it is healthy, I would say rather, but as long as people doesn't cross their lines,
yes,
this is all healthy as such.
Wonderful. What is the number one aspect that you look for as a trait in prospective employees when you onboard them onto your team?
I think the first and foremost is the attitude. I mean, the attitude plays. I've interviewed thousands and thousands of people, but people have, enormous knowledge, potential, everything is all there. But if they don't have the right attitude,
yes,
then they're not fit to get into the organization. We also look for things like same thing. What if somebody has to replace me? I need to look at what kind of leadership skills does this guy have. Whether it is an entry-level positions or whether you're looking for, so all the qualities which is required are bound to be there. So leadership qualities we look at, whether he is fit to be part of the team, whether he has the interpersonal skills. So when you look at a person, when you have two legs, one is on the technical aspects, in case if you're talking about an IT kind of a thing or any profession for that matter.
Yes.
Functional aspects, another one is the soft aspects.
Yes.
So it is easier for you to build the functional, or I would say technical aspect, but it is very difficult to build something which is on the soft aspect.
Yes.
So that is where we look more than the technical aspect, because they have learned over a period of time, and it can be always, it can be built over a period of time. But if they don't have the teamwork, if they don't have the interpersonal or communication skills, if they are not adaptable, they're not matured enough, don't have a personality to talk about, these are all something which is very difficult to, pick a guy with a wrong attitude.
Yes, yes. Very interesting. As you were talking, I was reminded of this. There was a video that was forwarded to me, and it talked about, and I'll quickly enumerate. Henry Ford was having a meal with two prospective candidates who had applied for a job. So he went into a restaurant, they had their meal, and at the end of the meal, he shook hands with one and said, "Congratulations, you're hired." And he told the other person, "Thank you very much for your time." And that was it. The other person asked him, "Sir, we've not discussed anything about the job. We've just had a meal, and how come you hired him as opposed to me?" So Henry Ford said, there are two things. One is when the steak came in, let's say the guy who was hired was Tom. Tom tried the steak and he then added salt.
Okay.
You just added salt onto the steak and started eating. So for me, it's very important that you first try out something and then decide whether you want to move ahead with adding the salt or whatever.
Exactly.
The second thing was, he said, when it came to all the waiters that were serving us, Tom said, please and thank you every time he was served. Whereas you were only polite to me and the waiters were invisible to you.
Correct.
So what you talked about, the softer skills, is exactly what good leaders look for. Because the technical skills, all things being equal, what matters in this world are the interpersonal skills.
Correct.
My final question in this segment, as a leader, how do you measure success?
This is, very tricky question, I would say rather. See, if there's a way, I would not say that success can be measured only through one's, assessment can be, or I would say, it can be done in many ways. Some companies look at saying, the measurement could be in terms of company's profitability. Somebody talks about how you are actually able to create your, strategies towards the organization.
Sure.
Somebody talks about objectives, KPIs, KRA, check the growth of the team, confidence within the team. But all these things does matter. See, and it depends on the industry and it depends on the organization culture. All these things does matter to us.
Yeah.
See, what happens is, as an individual, when I'm running an department, for me, maybe I may not look at company's profitability, but definitely I'm responsible like a CFO to at least to see whether I can add something to the bottom line or either I have to add something to the top line as such.
Sure.
And I say bottom line, I would say rather, if I'm able to reduce the cost. For example, when we create KPIs within the organization, we say that whether we can reduce the cycle time, whether we can actually, increase the, I would say when I look at quality as such, number of iterations we reduce, or we look at all these kind of KPIs. So when we look at measuring the success of any kind of outcome, what we do is we always define the KPIs for it. Okay? And we define the KPIs and say, by doing this activity, how is it going to add into the organization? Whether it is going to add value in terms of efficiency, whether it is going to add value. So the value becomes the key for me.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I'm really enjoying this conversation, Raj. So let's move on to another segment, which is a kind of rapid fire. Okay. All you need to do is answer the questions in a word. If it's a line, I'll specify, or choose from the choices that I give you. There's no justification required. Once again, the objective is to get to know you beyond the job title and get to know you better as a person. So are you ready for this round?
Yes.
Okay. Kindly choose one of the two options, chocolate or pickle.
Pickle.
Wonderful. Books or movies?
Books.
Books?
Yes.
Okay. Friends or family?
Family.
Nice. City life or village life?
It's city life right now.
Okay. Nuclear family or joint family?
It's very, though I would love to have a joint family, but yes.
Yeah. Today's circumstances are very different. Sure. Pani puri or sev puri?
Pani puri.
Pani puri. Okay. Choose one. Samosa pav, misal pav or vada pav?
Samosa pav.
Samosa pav. Okay. If you were to choose one of these instruments, musical instruments, flute or trumpet?
Flute, because I've learned this.
Oh, wonderful. If I had known earlier, I would have asked you to get the flute. Okay. Raj, what's your favorite food, meal or dish, if you were to choose one?
See, frankly speaking, when you work abroad for quite some time,
yes,
you will not be a chooser.
Yeah,
You love to grab anything with
anything, is it?
comes with it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, but I started, I love chapati and maybe sometimes rice.
Okay.
I am not a foodie actually.
Oh, wonderful. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But let's see, if you like ice cream, what's your all-time favorite ice cream flavor?
Pista.
Ah, nice. Good choice. Favorite holiday destination in India and favorite holiday destination internationally?
In India, it is Himachal Pradesh.
Okay.
Okay, I stayed extensively in North India, so I used to travel a lot.
Okay.
Internationally, I would say rather I love two countries. One is Switzerland, where I traveled a lot, and I covered all young pros, name and everything.
Right.
Somehow I also loved South Africa.
Wonderful.
I used to drive a lot in South Africa.
Okay. Okay. If you were to be stuck in a room for 24 hours, whom would you choose to be stuck with? I'll give you 4 options, Raj. Kindly choose one. No justification required.
Okay.
Mahatma Gandhi, Shah Rukh Khan, MS Dhoni, or Deepak Chopra.
MS Dhoni.
Very good. Kindly complete the sentence. I'm most happy when ...
When I play with my discomforts.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Some of the things I used to love that I don't do anymore are ... I
think I love a lot of sports. Which
you find little time for it now, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Which 3 people, living or dead, would you like to have a cutting chai conversation with? Where you're in my shoes and you have a choice to have a cutting chai conversation like we're doing. You have a choice of 3 people, living, dead, or fictional. Whom would you choose?
I said, Dhoni, I would love to have a conversation with this guy.
Okay. 2 more.
Definitely, people like Bill Gates or Narayan Murthy.
Okay. Great choice. Great choice. Raj, I had a wonderful time chatting with you. There were so many learnings. You took me down memory lane. You shared your thoughts on leadership. You talked about your formative years, the influence your father had in those years when, a foundation is laid. You talked about teams. You talked about so many aspects, and I'm sure it's going to be great viewing and learning for our viewers. I'm remembered of a quote when, after chatting with you, and it's by John Quincy Adams. And he states that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. You don't require any job title. So Raj, you remind me of that leader. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rajkumar Ayyella, Chief Information Officer at KC International Limited, an RPG Group subsidiary. Raj, I had a wonderful time chatting with you. We wish you, your family, and the RPG Group the very best going forward.
Thank you very much, Yarvan.
You're most welcome.